Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing an underrated, overachieving Tudor. This is the Tudor Glamour Date 8 in full stainless steel, a very wearable 39mm. This is a timepiece for all wrist sizes, and you can see on my 16cm circumference wrist, it wears easily. It's not terribly thick either, only 10.8mm thick. A 36mm Rolex Datejust of the current generation is 11.7, so this is almost a full millimeter thinner than a Datejust. Lug to lug, it's nicely sized in that it isn't too big and it isn't too small. The lug to lug is 47mm, but if you include the solid end links of the bracelet, it spans a substantial but still wearable 49.8. I often say 50mm or fewer for a wrist, a small wrist, of 14 to 16.5 centimeters. That's my definition of a small male wrist. I'm right in that range, and this watch fits perfectly. 21mm is the spacing between the lugs, so the bracelet does give it a broad stance, even though it's not excessively wide across the wrist. It's a handsome and contemporary looking watch. Now, in a lot of ways, this is the successor to the great Tudor Oyster Prince Date 8s of yore, such as the reference 7020, which I've previously reviewed and enjoyed. You hardly ever see them, because most people who bought Tudor then bought the dive and sport style watches, although today Tudor, having established itself in the Far East as a brand of reference, offers a substantial line of day-date watches because in the modern era, this has become a very practical and popular complication in Eastern markets, and I totally relate. This is an everyday practical watch that also looks the business. I would actually take this over a Tudor diver. 5-link bracelet, you can see that it features staggered link alignment, staggered link size, and staggered link finish with both satin and polish, a handsome taper, the underside with plenty of gaps to vent the wrist, so this is a viable sports watch with 100-meter water resistance, automatic winding, and loom. You can see all of the removable links are fixed in place by screws, and that on both sides. It's a substantial bracelet, and it has a substantial clasp. It's a clamshell folding clasp, and you even appreciate the attention to detail and the quality of spring-loaded ceramic pin snaps to maintain the tolerance of the clamshell lock over time. Internally, it's nicely finished too. Even entry-level Rolex watches don't feature internally polished clamshells, or I should say internally polished folding clasps. They generally feature media-blasted interiors, so this Tudor actually a step beyond Rolex convention in that respect. The bezel is a handsome, double gadron, stepped and domed affair, and the caseband is more complex than I noticed at first glance. It actually has a little bit of a step between the lug and the mid-case, so that it's not just a sheer mass of metal like Rolex's Supercase, Subs, GMTs, and Sea Dwellers. This is actually a little bit more nuanced and better articulated to make use of this surface area on the flank. There is a sharp break between the case flank and the hoods of the lugs, and the bezel itself frames a dial that is simple but handsome and nicely detailed. The details really do matter here. First, all applique indices, highly polished, a gloss lacquer black base, and a vintage-inspired rotor self-winding script at 6 o'clock. I feel that compared to Big Brother Rolex, Tudor has actually been restrained with its use of dial print and graphics, and I do appreciate both the balance and the cleanliness, the clean, minimalist aesthetic that brings. There's an aperture for the date, and there's an aperture for the day, but there's no magnifier or cyclops eye. Again, handsome, clean, thoughtful. The counterbalance for that lancet-style needle seconds. Look at that graceful wire loop. It's almost like the eye of a needle. And then, of course, you have the complications, day and date, a Tudor crown with shield blazon to match the dial, and underneath the case back you have an ETA 2834. Tudor declares as much on its website. I like the openness, and I like the fact that ETA calibers give you a thin watch. If you're wondering why the Pelagos and the Black Bay got so fat in recent years, it's because the Tudor in-house calibers are techy, but they're not thin. The ETA is slimmer and results in a more elegant watch. Automatic winding, 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate. There is a double quick set for both the date and the day, hacking or stop seconds, 38-hour power reserve, and bidirectional winding, so you really don't hear or feel the wobble of the rotor. This one's quite discreet. Basically everything you need and nothing you don't. This is a very friendly everyday watch. Mainland China loves it some Date 8 watches, and frankly, I, here in Philadelphia, will attest to my love for the same. See it and expand your horizons on the Watchbox. Tudor Glamour Day and Date by night, hours and minutes by night.